So the Leadership Consortium owes its name and its origin from the fact that a consortium is in essence a grouping and a collective of ideas and thoughts. And it's embedded in the fact that leadership per se is not normally in the hands of one person. It should be a collective, it should involve different perspectives, it should involve a broad spectrum of what is possible from the leadership perspective. The Zenger-Folkman family of colleagues around the world represent a broad group of people who are playing in the leadership space. And our Australian colleagues, Terry Reynolds and Glenn Price, have done a magnificent job in putting together a set of podcasts that address the questions and the recipes within the Zenger-Folkman methodology. These podcasts represent step-by-step, short, bite-sized, normally about 3 to 4 minutes, ideas, concepts, and tips and tricks as to how we can build our extraordinary leadership. So our invitation is to enjoy these podcasts, squeeze as much value as you can out of them, and make it part of building your leadership stepway to extraordinary. The fifth podcast raises the concept of a leadership tent. The leadership tent is a central focus in our Zenger-Folkman methodology and outlines the fact that if we visualize leadership as being a tent which covers an array or a space, with the area underneath the tent representing leadership effectiveness, where there is a set of key poles, which we call the key foundations of great leadership, keep the tent at a balanced and at a height that is right for effective leadership in action. We only have to think of Nelson Mandela as typifying the ideal and very close to ideal leadership tent with the pillars that supported his success.
Welcome to the Leadership Digital podcast series with Glenn Price and Terry Reynolds. For decades, leadership experts have tried to find the list of distinctive traits that define great leaders. They assume that each trait stands alone, much like the individually encased coil springs in an expensive mattress. As the advertisements demonstrate, if a bowling ball is dropped on one coil over here, the cup of water on the coil over there will not spill a single drop. This metaphor suggests that leadership skills are solitary and independent, not intertwined as we believe that they are. A more accurate metaphor for understanding leadership is a large tent, with the three-dimensional space underneath the canvas representing leadership effectiveness. The poles in our metaphor represent key strengths of the individual leader, especially those 5 that have been shown to make a difference in separating the great leaders from the good. The first tent pole is character, the second personal capability, the third focusing on results, the fourth interpersonal skills, and 5, leading organizational change. The tent canvas represents all of the possible competencies a leader might display. The key to becoming a more effective leader is to lift more of the tent by hoisting multiple poles of your tent into the air. Lifting one tent pole pulls the entire tent up around that pole and raises a broad expanse of canvas. As a second competency pole is lifted, a new section of the tent is elevated, which not only raises the canvas above it, but also raises the canvas between the 2 leadership poles. With each succeeding competency tent pole, large expanses of canvas are lifted, until ultimately there is a huge volume of space under the tent. So here are some strategies for raising your leadership tent pole. 1. Develop critical competencies. Seek to be competent in each of the 5 leadership areas. 2. Develop a combination of competencies. The canvas will not only be raised with just 1 or 2 competency poles in the air. Great leaders need a balance of complementary skills. And lastly, number 3, more is better. Leaders with strengths in each of the 5 areas will hoist the most impressive tents. Our partners at Zenger-Folkman, John Zenger and Joseph Folkman, said leadership behaviors are all knitted together, much like the complex network of the human brain. There is an unbelievable independence between them, and we'll discover more in this podcast series.
It's a pleasure to be able to share these thoughts and ideas with you and hopefully be part of allowing you to adopt a journey where extraordinary leadership is an opportunity and a growth area for you and your teams.